I have a dream that I absolutely positively hope never, ever, ever, ever comes true. The dream takes place not far from here in Christ Chapel of Gustavus Adolphus College, a very beautiful, a very large, a very acoustically efficient space. In the dream, I'm standing in the pulpit speaking in front of a full house of about 1,500 people. And in a moment of rhetorical pause, I hear what appears to be the sound of a young boy capitalizing on these seconds of silence by yelling out in as loud of a voice possible for all to can hear, the F-bomb. Not a word you hear often in Christ Chapel at Gustavus Adolphus College. Not a word that I wanted to incorporate into my message for that morning. But nonetheless, it was dropped for all to hear. And as the dream carries on, I instinctively look back to see, of course, where my family is sitting. And I see my 4-year-old son looking right back at me with the smirk of conviction on his face and metaphorical F-bomb residue dripping from his mouth. The F-bomber, caught, guilty as charged. It is a dream that most parents hope never, ever, ever comes true. I can assure you it is especially a dream that a chaplain of Gustavus Adolphus College never, ever wants to come true. Because F-words work. They work. And they work for a wide variety of people, for a wide variety of reasons, in a wide variety of ways. But primarily, they work for one simple reason: they're about connection. F-words are about connection. In that dream, it is clear that we are all connected in that F-bomb moment. Whether you're sitting in the back of the chapel, while you're sitting up front, while you're standing up in the pulpit, the fact of the matter is that we are all connected, and we are connected by fact. F-words work because they remind us that we are connected, and we are connected by fact. That's the case in my dream, and that's the case in the reality in which we all live. We're connected in this room through the hearing of my voice. We're connected through shared experience. But in this particular generation, we're connected in ways and means unlike any other generation before us. We're connected through the internet. We're connected through global television networks that run round the clock. But the connections even run deeper. We're connected through shared experiences like the World Cup or like the Olympics. We're connected through shared experiences of natural disasters that engage our compassion and our interest. We're connected, but the connections even go deeper. We're connected through structures and systems that dictate how you and I interact against and for and with one another in the marketplace. How we buy, how we sell. And those connections run deep. We could prove it if we looked at the tags on our clothes this morning. I would like to believe that they were not produced in St. Peter, Minnesota. We're connected through a global economy in which things that are mined in a particular place of the world are shipped to another place and then manufactured in another place and then produced and consumed in one other place and then kicked out the curb to waste in another place. We're connected. We're connected by fact. But a closer examination of these facts recognizes that these connections are not benign, nor are they neutral. In the global village, there are winners and there are losers. In the global village, there are those that have to sit on the edges of town because they can't afford to come into the town. In the global village, there are beggars who seep on the scraps of the elite. We do live in a global village. But for the far majority of the world, the global village is simply effed up. And that's a fact. And we're connected by that fact. But I also believe that we're connected by faith. And to say that we're connected by faith is to recognize that a personal affirmation has public implications. And more specifically, a personal affirmation that all human beings, regardless of who they are, regardless of where they've been, regardless of what passport they carry, regardless of what they even believe, are created in the image and likeness of God. And therefore, every human being is connected because they possess dignity, and might I claim they possess divinity. It's a connection. It's a connection that goes even deeper than shared space, a connection that goes even deeper because it's simply about being who we are. And in doing so, it allows us to function in a new way. In order to convert our connections. F words work because they show us the realities of the facts that shape our world through the lenses of a worldview that sees the dignity and divinity of every single human being on the planet, which in turn forces us to function in a way in order to convert the connections that shape our global village. I'll give you an example. Prior to coming to Minnesota, my wife and I spent the prior 10 years living overseas. 5 of those years was in South America. The 5 years after that was in Southern Africa. I think of those times often, especially in winter, I can assure you. During our last 5 years living in Southern Africa, my wife and I had the pleasure of going to the Kingdom of Lesotho and traveling around, visiting a number of different projects in the area. I will never forget the moment driving outside of Maseru and seeing a manufacturing plant from a blue jeans company, a very popular North American-owned company, which I had contributed to, especially during my college years. And as we drove down the road and saw this plant, we could see with our own eyes the blue dye coming down into the river. And we could see the heap of toxins sitting next to that river, and we saw the small children playing right next to it. And we realized that we were connected to those children. And we were connected by fact. But we recognized that we needed, through the lenses of faith, to function in a new way to convert the connections which shaped us. Through reconciling the difficulties, through transforming the structures that existed, and by empowering us and our local companions to live into something new. Not long after that first experience, we were welcomed into a process where a coalition of news media, international service organizations, non-governmental organizations, faith-based communities, and eventually political leaders in both the United States and Lesotho coming together to reconcile the situation, to transform the structures that led to the pollution in the first place, and in doing so, empower both communities there and here. It was an example of what converting connections look like. And I believe that's a model about what our global village could look like. Imagine if we converted our connections in a way that we saw ourselves as deeply connected to one another. And if we saw ourselves as created to be connected, but not just be connected in any way, but to be connected as companions in a global community. To resist these temptations of individualism that continue to incarcerate and isolate one another into deeper forms of injustice and indifference. I dream about such a world. And I imagine some of you here share that dream. I wonder what it would look like if you connected your dreams with one another and connected them with mine. And together we could convert the connections of our society to live into something new. The dream of a real global village. That is a dream that I hope can come true. Thank you.